And you might see these two terms, catabolic and anabolic. So let's look at these two people. Are they they're probably allegedly on steroids, but are they on anabolic steroids or catabolic steroids? Let's ask the chat. Or who knows, maybe they have really good genes and myostatin mutations. But yeah, anabolic or catabolic. Yeah, so whenever someone says like they're on, it's like, oh, it's like such and such on steroids. Yeah, is it anabolic or catabolic? Yeah, anabolic. So anabolism is building something up. So these are very big builders or bodybuilders building a lot of protein in their muscles, the skeletal muscles. So anabolism in general, when we talk about metabolism, it's building molecules. So you're taking simple reactants and making a bigger structure out of that. So it requires nutrients. Just like, how do you make a protein? Well, you need amino acids and you need to build all of them together to form a polypeptide. And sometimes some proteins need multiple polypeptides. So you need nutrition. And it requires and absorbs energy. So it's kind of things that anabolism is also expensive. It takes energy to get like those people. And same with anabolic reactions. They require energy to occur. And again, proteins for most of the structural and functional parts of your body. That's why we have so many of the proteins. That's why there are so many amino acids with different properties. Proteins are very diverse and they can perform a lot of different functions. Now, catabolism. So anabolism is building something that's anabolic, is building something up. Catabolic is going to break it down. So the catabolism is the opposite. So I like to use this. Like, what are these cats doing? They're taking something, especially this cat right here, and breaking it down. So that's like the cats are kind of like breaking things down like that. Yeah, this isn't a cat, but this is catabolism as well. So what you're taking is a big structure and breaking it down into smaller parts right there. So what does catabolism do? It takes a bigger molecule and breaks it down. So a complex structure makes into simpler molecules. And it requires little to no energy. Notice that all those little cats and that one non-cat, what are they doing? Just putting a little energy, but the rest, the destruction of all that molecule, requires less energy than to actually build something up. So it releases, and sometimes it releases energy as well. So this is important to your body because it's able to take, when it takes these food, nutrients, and sometimes it does catabolism, that can provide the energy and to drive your cellular reactions to keep your cells and maintain homeostasis in your body. Now, energetics in general, the energetics is defined as the flow and conversion of energy. So things that we know about ATP, but that's not the only form of energy in your body. Now, things that, again, we need energy to keep ourselves alive, and ATP is the primary currency or the primary molecule used for energy in your body and cells. But the thing is that ATP itself is unstable. So you can make a bunch of ATP and keep it in a cell, but that ATP is such high energy, you can't really keep it stable for very long. So you need storage forms for energy that are more stable than ATP, but that can be broken apart can be metabolized into ATP when needed. So I like to think of ATP like cash, or at least in before times. I think maybe people are using credit more now. But most people, if you give them a $100 bill, they'll be like, oh, yeah, thank you very much, I'll take it. I might disinfect it later, but I can use this. But the thing is this cash the only form of energy or form of currency? Nope, you can use other forms of currency as well, right? So ATP is not the only form of energy. So just like how you're able to use cards or like stocks or Bitcoin or gold, all of these has value. All of these have have some sort of monetary value, right? But which is the easiest to use? Can you go to Starbucks or go to a plate lunch wagon and say, I'll pay you? I would disinfect the money. I'm just making a joke. But yeah, I mean, that's an interesting thing too. I think, was it like the composition of our American currency is that they try to make it antimicrobial as well. It's not like simple paper, but it also has like chemical properties that make it, but still I would like disinfect. Yeah, the good thing is that the cloth paper money is like, because it's not like a smooth like a smooth plastic surface, it has more chance of drying out and desiccating the virus. Ooh, I'm getting on it. But yeah, I imagine the virus would be a lot less stable on money. But yeah, you should just wash your hands anyway. Like when I was like a Starbucks, like working as a barista, I would wash my head. Well, I wash my hands a lot, period. But especially after handling money, like you don't want to go straight from money to handling food. Yeah, good hygiene practices. But yeah, so are you going to back to currency and energetics? So are you going to be able to take a bit, say, tell the plate lunch wagon and go to L&L and say, I'll pay you in Bitcoin? No, so yeah, I mean, it's like has value, but it's not easily used as if you just paid in cash, right? So you have different forms of energy in your body, and some ATP is the most easily used. There are other forms not as easily used as ATP, but they still have energy somehow. Or I should update this. I should use things like Venmo, like yeah, so then energy is kind of like that. There are many different forms. Now back to anabolism catabolism. Well, which takes more resources and energy? Building a new phone or going from so this is what I like to use. Is this would this be analogous to anabolism or catabolism? Well, again, you're taking simple parts and building something up. You're also consuming energy to make something as well. So this is kind of like anabolism because it's requiring energy. It's building something complex out of something that's simple. But catabolism, what would be the opposite? Well, it would be taking this and breaking it apart into its components. So that's what catabolism would be in this analogy. Now, which is more expensive in terms of like going from point A to point B or point A to point B? Well, again, it takes money to buy all the parts. It takes money to pay these workers. It takes money to do all the electricity to run the plant. So anabolism is expensive. It requires energy. Now, to replace this would cost energy, but to take your phone right here and go from that to that over there, does that require money? No, you can just like drop it on the ground repeatedly. That won't really cost. That's some energy input, but it doesn't really cost you anything to really go from that to that. So, anabolism is expensive, requires energy, builds things up. But catabolism requires less energy input and it requires less resources.